All right, all right, all right. Hello, my friends. My name is Christy, and I am one of the admins of We Are Home Business Bakers. I want to thank you guys so much for joining this edible image class. We're going to be going over edible printers, edible ink, and edible paper. So if you have any questions during the presentation, I just want you to feel free to leave a comment and I will be sure to answer it along the way. So while we wait for a few more people to jump on, let me know in the comments if you have an edible printer or if you're just in the market of thinking about purchasing one. So if you have one already, if you just aren't sure how to use it, or if you hope to purchase one or know if you even should. So just go ahead and leave me a comment while we wait for a few more people to jump on. And also, if you can let me know where you're from. This group is full of people all over the world, and I just love to know where you guys are from. I think that's one of the best things about our group. Okay, so thinking of purchasing one. All right, that's great. So you are in the perfect place. Okay. So we'll just have a few more people joining. Does anybody want to share where they're from? I'm in Florida. I know we have people all over the world. Just wait for a couple more people. Ooh, Puerto Rico, now living in Fort Worth, Texas. Yes, it's just going to be audio, and then we are going to have a PowerPoint presentation. So you can refer back to it at any time, but know that you can ask questions, and I'll be sure to answer them. All right, so we are going to get started. Okay, so again, I just want to welcome everybody. And I am Christy, and Melissa and we are the admins of the We Are Home Business Bakers Facebook group and Home Bakers Academy. Okay. So first, let's talk about what is an edible image. An edible image can be anything that you can imagine. It can be a picture. It can be something that you create. It's anything that you can put on regular paper. You can also put on an edible image. They have printers that can be turned into edible printers. There's edible paper, and then special formulated ink that they use to print the images. All right, so, and feel free to stop if you have any questions. I do see a question, Karen. Yes, we will have this presentation available in the events section, and you can refer to it anytime you like. And again, Karen, you can always feel free to contact me and ask me any questions one-on-one. All right, so what kind of printers can you use? There are currently Epson and Canon that offer the ability for edible printing. So I want you to do your research on which one you prefer, as there are pros and cons to both. I think what's most important to remember is that the website you are at, they're going to tell you that the one they sell is the best. So visit more than one website to be sure you're getting an unbiased opinion. I personally prefer Canon, but you may not have the same needs as I do. And you can always feel free to contact Melissa and I, and we can walk you through the pros and cons of the printer that you are looking at specifically. All right, so here I'm going to show you the differences between buying an already made kit and your option to make your own bundle. For this demonstration, I'm going to use the website Icing Images and Amazon. I want you to know that I'm not an affiliate of Icing Images, and I personally have not used them, but many of my fellow bakers have, and those bakers have given pretty high ratings to Icing Images. Okay, so you also have the option to make your own kit. Now, I'm not going to get into the logistics of if this is food safe or not. You can make your own decision based on your own research. But when we're comparing the two, pre-made packages and do-it-yourself, if you purchase the basic model at Icing Images, it's going to cost you $199, and you'll be able to make 37 prints. If you do your own kit from Amazon, you're going to spend $162 for the same printer, the same items, and it's going to cost you $162.35. And with that do-it-yourself bundle, you're going to get 124 prints. So the pre-made, it's going to be easy, one-stop shop. Do it yourself, you'll have to purchase each individual items and put the bundle together yourself, but you will save money and get more prints. Okay, so let's talk about edible paper. There are two types of edible paper. I use both of them, and I use both of them often. You can purchase them at any website that sells edible images like Amazon, and even wholesale websites offer them. Wafer paper is not as high of a quality. It doesn't give you the best print. It's more used for making leaves, butterflies. You can do like a ruffle skirt around your cake, and they're great for making flowers. Frosting sheets, they give you a much more vibrant image. When you print them out, you are really going to get that crisp design, and it's going to melt right into the frosting. They are, however, quite a bit more expensive. Okay, any questions? Just feel free to stop me, leave me a comment, and I'll answer them as we go. All right, so when you purchase your ink, the main thing you want to look for, no matter where you purchase it, is to find the model number. You want to be sure that the website or the box that has your printer model number has a compatible printer listed on it. A benefit of Icing Images is they have this tool. You can see the little blue box there. And all you need to do is enter your printer number, and it will tell you exactly which ink to purchase. If you look right above that, the compatible printers, that's going to show you what you want to look for. You want to make sure that the printer you have is on the list of compatible printers. If not, your ink isn't going to work. All right, so where are you going to purchase your ink? You can purchase your ink from a company that sells printer kits. Again, I'm using Icing Images as our example, but there are other companies out there that do this. And we can compare that to Amazon. If you notice, both of these are compatible with the printer that Icing Image sells as their basic package. It's the TS6220. And if you purchase it from Amazon, you're going to be spending $32.48. And if you purchase it from Icing Images, you're going to spend $69. So it's a difference of $36.52. And that's not talking about shipping. I do believe that Icing Images offers free shipping if you spend more than $99. And of course, with Amazon Prime, you would get free shipping. Okay, so let's talk about all the fun stuff and the reasons to purchase an edible image printer, regardless of how you do so. Here I've put a couple things that I've done with my edible image and with edible paper. The first one is a paint your own cookie, and they are all the craze right now. So what I did here is I actually took a coloring page and with that, I just printed it out in the size of my cookie. And the dots, we've talked about that before, and it's something that we can go over, but you just use the paintbrush and you can have the children or yourself paint the image. Okay, so my thing wasn't scrolling down, and Jim told me I had some questions. So let's see. Okay, will Christy tell us how to do a photo sheet to put on a cake? Yes, Karen, I'm going to go over that in just a minute. Thank you. Okay, so right next to that, we have just an edible image, and I took that image right off the internet, and I put it on a frosting sheet. And in a minute, I'm going to tell you exactly how I did that. As you can see next to that in a photo app, I put the happy 82nd birthday Russell right on a picture I found, and it's just a flat sheet cake, so it came out really beautiful. Next to that, we have ruffles. And if you take your wafer paper and cut it and snip, 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 you can make this beautiful ruffle for any of your cakes. It's quite a beautiful thing to do. Oh, we went too fast. I was trying to scroll down to see the comments. All right, where can I find out how to do the dots? All right, Courtney, we're not going to go over that right now, but we can definitely do that in another training. It's super easy. I personally use my airbrush, but there are other methods, and I'll be sure to add that to the list of things that we do. Okay, moving on, right under the paint your own cookies, I have applied an edible image onto a cookie, which I use as a topper for a cupcake. So that's a really neat technique, and the customer basically gets a cupcake and a cookie all in one. Next to that, this customer wanted a very elegant and beautiful cookies, and some people, they can't write on cookies as well as others. No one can be as good as Melissa. But what I did here was I just printed out their name. I found a little graphic online, and I printed out their name and put it on an edible image and put it right on the cookie with some royal icing. Next to that, one of the things that I find is super cute is printing out an edible image. And then if you can see the little piggy and the number 1, I use some thick fondant and cut out the edible image with an X-Acto knife and put it on the fondant and cut out the fondant so it was the exact same shape, and I let it harden. And I did that for both the piggy and the number 1. I used another printing Photoshop type program. I found a cow spots, and I transferred it onto the 1, and I made really cute toppers. So that was something that was super fun to do. Okay, and then the final thing, and this is definitely something that I will do in another training, is wafer paper flowers. Beautiful, easy. Once you know the technique, I can walk you through it step by step. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so let me see if there's any questions. Oh, I really love the farm cake. Thank you so much. Okay, how many cookie toppers can you print on one sheet? In other words, how big are the sheets, and can you just print out a portion and still use the remaining portion for another order? Okay, Karen, this is going to really decide on how big your cookies are. I can get 12, about 2-inch toppers, cookie toppers on one paper. I've also done mini cookies to put on mini cupcakes that I've gotten quite a bit more. And I can show you guys that. It's on my website, so I can show you that on another time, how I did that. You can use the remaining for another order. What I like to do, this is something, when I know my orders ahead of time, I will print multiple orders on one, and they stay, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, how long. I have an edible printer and my colors do not print true colors. Okay, we'll definitely talk about that, Ruth. And probably what you can do, if you haven't done so yet, is there's a setting on your printer and you want to do high quality. And that will really give you some great color, vivid images. And it could also be what type of paper you're using. I can't get greens to come through. Okay, so Kristen, again, if you are not having your printer set to high, that could be it. And also, if you, depending on what paper, if you're using wafer paper versus frosting sheets. Okay, can you freeze a cookie with an edible image on it? I don't like to do that because your edible image can become very brittle and it will be easy to break. So if you're going to package it, you probably want to stick away from that. Okay, and Melissa is saying that, oh, this is great. Icing Images does have, and it's a free program that you can just put your image right there, and it fits perfectly. There's no guessing at all. Okay, and that's something that we can go over in depth more too. You have changed the printer settings. Okay, Ruth, it's something that I can definitely help you with, but maybe not in this short 30-minute presentation. So if you want to give me a private message, I'll help you work through any troubleshooting from that. I think it would be more helpful to do more one-on-one. What software do you use for printing images? I personally use Photoshop. I load it in, but there are many out there. Melissa, she uses the free software from Icing Images. I can put a list of some really good ones in the comments after. There's a couple that are pretty good. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Ruth. Okay, so let's talk about how to apply your edible images to buttercream. If you're going to be applying to a cake that has a crusting buttercream, you're going to want to make sure that you either apply it before it crusts. You know, it usually takes about 10 minutes for them to crust over, or you want to have a very, very fine mist of water on top. You want to make sure you don't have any puddles. If you do, it's going to run, and you're not going to be able to salvage it. One of the small problems you can have also is wrinkling. If you do not get it too wet, you will be able to gently rub out those wrinkles. Okay. So how to apply it to fondant? In order to avoid wrinkles, for beginners, I always like to recommend that you use fondant. You want to roll it out really, really thin and attach your edible image to the fondant. You can do that with a little bit of water. You can use some piping gel. You can use a little bit of pre-made royal icing mixed together. You just want to make sure you use a clean paintbrush and just kind of gently put it on there. And this is really going to help you when you use the fondant almost like a backing to your edible images. It's going to prevent that wrinkling. You want to make sure that when you put the piping gel or the corn syrup on it, that it's just kind of tacky, just sticky to the touch, and that way your edible image will just stick right on it. Okay. Let's see if there's any questions. We can continue. Okay, applying it to royal icing. This is probably one of the harder methods, but it's one that I use all the time, and that is applying your images to a cookie. So if you use what we call a wet technique, you're going to have a greater chance of the image curling, especially if you use wafer paper. So if you're having a difficult time with the curling, what you can do is after you apply your base layer of royal icing, flood your cookie, you can allow it to dry, and then you can put a little bit of corn syrup, piping gel, or just a little bit of royal icing on it and put it down. And you can kind of gently rub it on there so it will stay. If you do the wet technique where you adhere the edible image right to the cookie, it's very possible that the edges, the royal icing will kind of come out when you gently rub it. So you'll want to make sure and clean up those edges pretty well. Okay, do you have to cover all the back of the image with glue, or just the edges is enough? I personally cover the entire thing. I'd say experiment. It depends on how big your edible image is that you are using. But I cover the whole thing. It's not something that I've ever tried. But it's just a very, very thin layer, so it shouldn't take much at all. It shouldn't be hard for you to use the whole thing. Okay, hopefully that answers that question. Okay, so I wanted to take a moment and talk about something that I've done, and it's been a huge moneymaker for me. And Edible Images really has made this a lot easier. Many companies, they'll pay top dollar for cookies with their logos on them. There are a ton of businesses that will purchase these as gifts or just a way to advertise their business. I have companies that use them as business cards. So it's really fun, and once you get a couple of businesses doing it, other businesses will see it, and it's just something that will take off. Also, another thing I do, and you can see here the love and the soccer, I do all of the sports awards in my local area for schools. It's a lot of cookies, and it's a lot of money for my business. You can personalize them with the sport, the logo. There's tons of ideas online. And once one school sees it, believe me, the other schools will be knocking on your door because you know about school rivalry. So it's a really good thing. So you can see here I have packaged some, and the company gave them out for Thanksgiving gifts. This one in the middle, the edible logo cookies that I have with the yellow, one business had like a little retreat, and so she purchased 3 different cookies with 3 different logos for the businesses that were going to be there. So it was a pretty neat event for her. And of course, I had my business cards, and I got more business from that. Okay, so there's a couple of questions that we get that are common, and I wanted to go over just a few of them with you. Number 1, can you buy a refurbished printer? The answer to that should be no. You don't want to, because you cannot guarantee that a refurbished printer was not used with standard ink, and there could be some cross-contamination, and you just don't want to do that. Okay, can I use a printer that I already own? If you have a printer that you have used previously with standard ink, I definitely do not recommend that you use it for Edible Image. How much do I charge for the logo cookies? Karen, that's something that we can definitely discuss. For me, it depends on the application that it's in. If I'm going to charge, $300 for the schools, I'd probably do $2 a cookie. There are some paint your own that I charge $6 a cookie. So it really depends on what it's for, how many I'm going to do, how big the cookie is. It's just a huge range, but I'll definitely, me or Melissa can go over that with you. Okay, Winnie, how can I start a business doing this? That is a big question. Feel free to message me or Melissa, and we can find out where you're at. You can ask in the group. Without knowing where you are or what exactly you're talking about, As far as starting it, it's kind of a hard question to answer in this time frame, but Melissa and I are here for you, and you can definitely ask us any questions at any time, and we'll be more than happy to help. Can I buy a new printer and then use edible ink in the wafer paper? Karen, okay, yes. So you have two options, and you can go through this again, the class, but you can either buy one pre-done with everything, or you can make your own. And you want to do your research on it. Some people, you know, they don't have the technology to do it. They don't have the, by technology, I mean the technical background to do it. And they find it easier to buy one together. Okay, oh, and Melissa's answering a very good question. Okay, Winnie, how do you advertise? And do you only use sugar cookies? I have put edible images on both regular sugar cookies and chocolate sugar cookies. I think you could put them on any cookies. It would just be hard to apply without a very smooth surface. Hopefully that answers your question. But any smooth cookie that doesn't spread would be perfect. Okay, what printer setting should I use? And we talked about this a little bit. For the highest quality printing, place your setting on high. And I want you to remember that this will use quite a bit more ink. How long do edible images last? So we talked about this a little bit. If you could have a couple of orders in advance, could you print more than one order on a sheet? And the answer is yes. When you first get your edible images, they're going to come in an airtight bag that will preserve them for 12 months. If you take them out, if you print on them, really after about 6 months, the color will start to fade. So you want to be sure to keep that in mind for sure. All right, so let's keep going. All right, so tips and tricks. Some of the top tricks that I like to point out are to refill your own cartridges. This takes some research and practice, and you'll really only want to refill your cartridges a few times, but this can save you money in the long run. Okay, if you ruined a printed sheet, which yes, that does happen, don't throw it away. You can save it for future use. You can cut it out to make a leaf, a butterfly. You can airbrush it. You can do so many things. So don't think you've ruined it. You can use it for something. Okay, test print. What I like to do, especially when I'm using a program for the first time, or if I'm not exactly sure how big I want something to be, I'm going to do a test print on my regular printer with a regular paper. And that way I can get an idea of how big it is, if it's everything that I want for my cookie, before I waste ink and an edible printer paper. Okay, so trouble getting backing off image. I have heard this quite a bit, and I'm going to recommend that you place the image, and this would be for the frosted sheets. The wafer paper, of course, does not have this problem. I want you to put it in the freezer for no more than 15 seconds, okay? You definitely don't want to do it for longer than that. And this will freeze the image, and it'll kind of pop right off. You can use a scribe, gently peel off the corner. Now, if it begins to break, that means it's too frozen, and you really need to let it come back to room temperature. You've put it in for too long. Okay, and a refill bottle leaking. This can happen. What you want to do is you want to get some plumber's tape, and you just want to wrap the threads of the bottle, put the top back in, and it will solve that problem perfectly. Okay, what do you refill your cartridges with? That's a great question, Robin. So there are online, the main companies that sell edible image items, they have them. And also Amazon has them. You want to make sure that when you do purchase them, that they are compatible with the cartridges that you have. So you'll really have to do some research on it. It's not something that you just want to, you know, buy the first thing you see. And it is the special formulated food coloring that they use. You just refill it. It's kind of like if you refilled any printer cartridge. It's basically exactly the same. You just need to make sure that you're using the edible ink. Okay. All right, so here's the big question, and I'm hoping that I have, you know, kind of answered some of the questions. Should you purchase a printer or purchase images that are already made? Okay, so a couple of the questions that you can use to answer this is, how often will you be using your printer? If you plan to use your printer less than once a week, an edible image printer may not be a great idea. If you don't use them often, they can dry up, they can clog up, and will just cause you issues over time. So profit versus time. There are many people who are so busy, whether they have second jobs, kids, an extremely successful bakery, that just don't have the time to keep up with the ink and the paper and creating the images. So if your time is better served baking, then printing your own might not be the best idea. You may just want to upload a picture and be done with it. So let's talk about the cost comparison. We've talked about the two printer bundles, buying it yourself and creating your own. So if you were to purchase an already made image, you would spend $1,240 for the already done images to get the same amount of images as creating a kit yourself. And alternately, if you would purchase the kit from, let's say, Icing Images, you would spend $370 on already done images to get the same amount of images as purchasing. So it's something that you really want to keep in mind. It's a big savings. Okay, let's see if we have any questions. Okay, looks like Melissa has a couple questions that she is answering. So we will get back to the presentation. Where can I buy already done images? So at this point, you should kind of have an idea if you feel like the commitment is something that you want to go forward with, or if buying already done images is more what you need. So you can buy them at Walmart. And at Walmart, there's two things. You can order them online, which, as you can see, they're pretty pricey. But also, if you have a good reputation with your local Walmart, like I do, and it's very easy, you just go in there and you know, be your normal self. They can do it right on the spot. I've heard some people they'll do it for a couple dollars. Some people, they can get them to do it for $10 to $15. So that's definitely something that you can look into. Amazon has tons of pre-done images for you. Some of them are customizable. Some of them are just the prints. They're about $10. And my favorite place, and has so many options, is Etsy. Just type in Etsy's website and you can type in the image that you're looking for. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Choking on a little bit of water. All right, so I want to thank you so much for being part of the edible image class. I do hope that you got some helpful tips and excuse me, helpful tips, and that you're now feeling a lot more confident about your edible image journey in your business. I did want to point out that we do have a couple of classes that are coming, and I'd like to go over them with you. So in March, on the 11th, we're going to have the cake basics. That's going to be a free class with Melissa, and that's going to be inside of the We Are Home Business Bakers Facebook group. We do have a couple of step-by-step, in-depth 1.5-hour classes also that are coming in March. On the 4th, we'll be doing an intro to cookies that will go over how to make royal icing consistencies, how to pipe, color royal icing, and exactly how to outline and flood. This is going to be with Melissa, so you'll be able to stop her, ask questions. She can see what you're doing. She can troubleshoot it right on the spot. It's a very interactive class, and she really does an amazing job with it. On the 15th, I'm going to be doing a Canva class. I'm going to walk you through everything that you can do with Canva. In fact, this presentation here I made with Canva. So that's just one of the things that you can do. It's going to be a very detailed class for those that have either never used Canva before, or those of you that have not quite mastered graphic design. And if you think you're just having a hard time learning all of the aspects of Canva and what it offers for your business. So it's going to be a very in-depth class, and I'm just going to walk you through everything. On the 17th, we will be having our monthly cupcakes, cocktails, and conversations. And this is available only to the members of the Academy. In case you're not sure, to become a member of the Academy, all you need to do is have purchased one of the paid classes, and you'll be automatically part of the exclusive Home Bakers Academy Facebook group. You'll have the one-on-one mentorship like I talked with Karen. She's part of the Academy, and so we'll just, troubleshoot everything right over there in the group. And you'll be invited to our conversation chats, and we just talk about life in general. So the final class in March will be on the 25th, and if you can see the picture here, those are the cookies that you'll be making. Melissa's going to help you to make them perfectly by going step by step. So hopefully you can check out some of those classes. So I just want to thank you guys, and for those of you that are here tonight, as a special offer. Now this is only going to last for the next hour, so I'm looking at the clock here. All right, for the next hour only, anyone who joins one of our paid classes, and that's going to get you into the Academy, it's going to give you the one-on-one mentorship, it's going to give you everything you need. Anyone who joins one of our classes in the next hour is going to be entered into a drawing for a free class of your choice. It can be a past class that we've already done or any class in the future. Okay, so be sure to hurry, because at the end of the hour, we're going to be picking our winner. Okay, so let's just see if we have any more questions. Okay. Copyright issues. It does look like Melissa's talking about that. Which Canon printer can we buy, and how to buy edible cartridges which is suitable for that? Thank you. Sorry if I read it. Yes, we did talk about that. If you do replay the video, it should answer all of that questions. And please feel free to contact me if you have any questions after. I can walk through. What model is good? We can talk about that. If you go to, this is what I would do. If you do some research on which is the best one, and then kind of shop around. I do recommend to most beginners to go to Icing Images and see what they are currently offering, and then compare it to Amazon to see if it's affordable. And they're going to also lead you with a pretty good with a pretty good model. And feel free to ask in the group, because everyone will tell you what their best model is. Karen, you've already signed up for Melissa's class. Does that count? I think you need to sign up for one more to make that count. Jaquita said, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you. Yes, I really want to buy, but I don't know which one. Okay, I do believe that Jim let you know which one we purchased. Christy says which one she purchased, the TS6020, and she loves it. I did post in there, I think it was the TS6220 that Icing Images is using. But please, feel free to contact me, and I can go over which one based on what your specific needs are. So let me just ask any more final questions. I really appreciate you guys being here. If you guys need anything, just let us know. Okay, they're the ones that are listed. She doesn't have any more. Oh, so Karen has signed up for all the classes. Well, Karen, then if you win, you will get a refund. I like it. Melissa's got it. You are entered. All right. So thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the class. I hope you got some real value out of it. I hope to see you on Canva Fundamentals. It's going to be much more in depth. We'll have a lot more time to answer your questions, and we'll really get you going. And you are so welcome. I hope you guys have a great night and a wonderful week.